Hi, welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl. Today I'm going to be picking some beets out of my garden and I'm going to be making some beet pickles. So I'm bringing you out here and we're going to check out some of these beets. With the beet pickles, I'm going to be boiling them whole just to get the skins off of them. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting the tops off to about 2 inches from, so I will be cutting the tops about 2 inches from the beet, and I will leave the root part of it on, wash these up, and I will boil them with that bit of the tops on and the root on it. So I've got a basket here for my tops, and I'm just gonna see, I'm picking out the ones that are the biggest, that way I can make room for the other beets that are coming in. These beets here, these are my bull's blood beets, and they are the ones that have the absolute rich, beautiful burgundy tops on them. So if you like beet greens, these are beautiful beets to have for beet greens. I don't have too many that are big enough to pick over on this side, but let's go over to the cylinder beets and we'll check those out. Oh, another cherry tomato drop on the ground. Just eat it. That's what I do. I rethought my basket situation. This basket is a lot smaller. I'm gonna have more beet green tops than I am gonna have beets. So I'm gonna put my beets in this basket, and then I've got my beet greens to go in this basket. Over on this side, these are my cylinder beets. So I will going to pick out the biggest ones and let the other ones, I have a lot more beets in this bed. I forget how many pounds of beets I need for a batch of beet pickles, but I am just going to pick what I have that's big enough to pick, and we'll see what we get. If I only get a half a dozen pints of beet pickles, then that's how much I get for now, but there will be more coming for sure. Yesterday I made my hearty chicken soup. We had it last night. It was really good, really lovely flavor to it. Putting those tomatoes, adding them into that soup, really enhanced the taste of the soup. And I didn't put a lot in there. I mean, I definitely had more other vegetables than I did tomatoes, and then also adding that kale was nice too in the end. I also added, I had was saying the other day that I had went to Soda Creek, which is a farm near us, and I picked corn. Well, that corn that I picked, I ended up stripping it from the cobs. I blanched those kernels and I put them in freezer bags and put it in my freezer. So I took that corn that I got from Soda Creek and I added that to my soup as well. So that was really nice too. Yeah, these aren't super big, but when you're making beet pickles, your beets don't have to be big. Because any of the really small beets, you don't even have to cut them. You can put them in whole. And I notice I've got some sunburst squash here that I have to pick as well. Might as well do that while I'm out here. Oh, we got a pretty big one here. It's like, well, big, short and squatty big, but it almost looks like a heart that way. It looks bigger on the top when you're looking at it before you pick it, It wasn't that long. For it being a cylinder beet, it should have been longer, but it's pretty short and squatty. Oh, this little beet came out with it, so yeah. Speaking of baby beets, that's a really small one. Okay, there's a bigger one. Let's keep the dirt in the bed instead of dropping it all over the bark mulch. And I love beet pickles. I love cooked beets. I love everything about beets. I do not eat beet greens. I don't know. I've never really been in the habit of eating beet greens. I have a friend, she absolutely loves beet greens. But I could take it or leave it. Preferably leave it. So I think we've only got a few more here to pick. And then we'll see how much we have here. Still, I think I'm on day 3 of my cold, so it's still not gone as of yet, but I've been, at night I drink that David's tea, the cold 911 tea, so I drink that at night with honey. And then for breakfast, I've been making oatmeal with raisins and cinnamon and the ground flax in it. And then I also put a little bit of brown sugar and some milk over the top. So, let's see what we have. That one's pretty small. Probably didn't need to pick that one. But that's okay. I don't have, I thought I was going to have more than what I got here. They still have more thyme root vegetables. They can handle a light frost, especially vegetables like carrots and beets and rutabagas. They like that light frost. Let's see what else I have going on. Yeah. I think, oh, here's another big one. Just a sec. Found another big one. These are pretty small. But I got a big one down here underneath my sunburst squash. There's a bigger one. So I think that's it for my beets for today. I have some golden beets, but I'd rather use golden beets to either roast or to put in salads. I will pick a couple of these sunburst squash because they're pretty big. Might as well get them. See that one? Totally ready to go. Got another one. A couple of them here. A little bit smaller, but definitely can be picked. They're so cute. And I got another one here. And I got a couple more over on this one over here too. Oh, and another one right in here. So yeah, I got quite a few actually. More than what I was expecting to get. So 7 of these. Very nice. And I also have a couple of pickling cucumbers. There's not much, like I have 2 pickling cucumbers. I ended up buying some and making some dill pickles. And I also made bread and butter pickles too. I've decided I am going to pick a couple of golden beets and I will roast them. Like, look at that. This is absolutely beautiful. And that's the golden Detroit beet. So cut the tops. I don't need too many, especially at this size of the golden beets. And this one's a little bit smaller, but I have like 2 sets of tops growing out of one beet. That's hilarious. I've never seen that before. Okay, any more bigger ones? I got another one here. I don't know how many I'm gonna need. Probably about 5 or 6. I'd like to find some bigger ones. I'll pull this one out because it's kind of in the way of this other one growing. And I think 5 or 6 should be enough for dinner, and I've got another one on the other side, so I'll pull that one out. Trying to take all the other beets out with it. Oh, well, it did it. I ended up having to take 2 with the one. I just wanted one. Oh, and I got the baby as well. Dang it. That was more than what I was hoping for. I was wanting to keep that baby in there so it could get bigger. Now, I'll wash it up and we'll eat it. I'm gonna pick another big one. I'm gonna hold on to this other one so it doesn't pull it out too. I don't need that again. Okay. So I got 9. Just wanted to give you a quick peek. This is my corn salad that's coming in that I planted a couple of weeks ago now. And then here in the back, this is the Hakiri salad turnips. And they're coming in good. I'm gonna have to thin those. In front of them, this is the Chinese Toi Choy. And I will have to come and thin that too. I just wanted to give you a peek at those coming up. And I have washed my beets. I'm going to be putting them in the pot. I'm going to be putting my biggest beets in the bottom of the pot because they're going to take the longest to cook. So I'm just picking out all my bigger sized beets and I'll put them in the bottom, and then the smaller ones will go on top. And the reason for that is that as the smaller ones are tender enough and to be able to get the skin off of the beets, pardon me, I will remove those ones first as they are not going to take as long. So as you can see there, and then I am going to cover the beets with water and I will put them on to boil. I am going to put in this other pot, and this one's big enough. I'll just cover the very bottom of the pot with the golden Detroit beets, and then I will cook those separately. Once they are ready to take the skins off and they're tender enough that I can remove the skins fairly easy, then I will take them off and do that as well. So I'm going to top these beets off with some water and put them on to boil. Okay, so I have them both topped up with water. Just gonna turn my burners on, put my lid on that one, and then the same with this one. And put my lid on that. And that's gonna take anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. So in the meantime, I am going to shred some cabbage for some sauerkraut. Okay, so in the meantime, while my beets were boiling, I have been chopping up all of that cabbage. I didn't quite have 5 pounds of cabbage like the recipe had called for. I have about 4 pounds of cabbage. So it said to put in 3 tablespoons of salt, and I'm just using this medium coarse gray salt. I picked it up and it's a sea salt, which it said to use a sea salt. So I've shredded up all my cabbage. I chopped it up with a knife. I was going to use this mandolin, but I just found that because the cabbage was split, I had to go through it because some of the leaves had some black on the edges. So I chopped it up with a knife, went through it all, picked out anything that I didn't want in there. Last year when I made this, I put in celery seed and I also put in fresh garlic. In the recipe, it said that you could put in some sliced apples. Well, I have these little green apples that we had picked from our apple tree, and I'm just going to slice them up into just thin slices, and I'll just show you what that's going to look like. I didn't peel them, I just took the core out, and of course the stem, and I'm just going to show you. I just thinly sliced up these apples. I cut them into quarters and I'm just thinly slicing it, and I'm going to put that in my sauerkraut. Once I'm done slicing these all up, then I'm going to put in my celery seed, and I'm also going to put in my fresh garlic. I'm slicing up probably about 6 small apples, and I'll just try it out and see how that works out. I really enjoyed having the celery seed and the fresh garlic in it, so this year I'm decided to add the apple in it too. You can also put other shredded up vegetables like carrots, onions, beets, Brussels sprouts, other types of cabbage. It doesn't have to be regular cabbage. Red cabbage, you could definitely put that in there. That would give it kind of a pinky tinge to the sauerkraut, which is totally fine. So if you want to put red cabbage in, by all means do it. Now I've sliced up all these apples. About halfway of me chopping up this cabbage, I put a tablespoon of that salt on, and then I put the other half of the chopped up cabbage over top, and then added another tablespoon. Now I'm gonna mince these garlic cloves in. This is one of those Pampered Chef. Oh, I can't put that in there. I was going to put it in this bucket with the apple cores and everything in it, but I plan on giving that to my chickens, and they can't have garlic. So I got to keep that separate. Got some garlic on the side. It's super fresh garlic. This is the garlic that I ended up picking up from a garlic festival. And so I'm using that for this sauerkraut. So I'm anxious to see what flavors that will bring to my sauerkraut. And I'm putting, I think I have 5 cloves of garlic that I'm putting in here. And this one just smushed all over the place. It didn't even ended up going on the cutting board. Okay, my last one. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start massaging that salt and mixing it all up. And then I have, what one is this? It's number 2. I don't know if that means it's a 2-gallon. I got actually this crop at an antique store in Saskatchewan, And I think I paid like $20 for it, which is super cheap because I've seen them a heck of a lot more expensive in other places. It didn't have a lid with it, but that's okay because I don't need a lid to do sauerkraut. I've already got a bit of liquid that has developed in this sauerkraut from that first tablespoon. It's already starting to do its thing by producing a bunch of liquid. Okay, and then I'm gonna massage it in. I've stirred it quite a bit. Oh, I have to put my celery seed in as well. Better get that in here too. I totally forgot about the celery seed. I'll just shake some on top. I just got it here. I didn't put a lot. Give that a good stir. There. Now we'll get massaging that in to the cabbage. I like these big Tupperware bowls. They're nice and deep, so you can do stuff like this and you don't have it all over the place. Okay, that's pretty mixed in there. Now I'll just give my hands a rinse and see what I have to do next. I've only made this once before, so I don't remember everything that I needed to do in this recipe. Okay. Mix ingredients together and then pack in the crock. I'm gonna bring my crock over here. Got some cabbage stuck to my shirt. And I'll put some of it in here. And then I'll pack it down. Okay. I'm just going to use my fist to pack it down with. I've seen those tamping. It's like a big wooden club with a blunt end on it, a squared off end, and that's what they use. But this works just as good. This is what I did last year and it worked totally fine. So I'll put about another third in there, and then I'm gonna tamp that down too. Okay. Lost some of my sauerkraut. I lose more just trying to put it in the crock than I did stirring it and massaging it. I absolutely love sauerkraut. A lot of times I just eat it alongside my breakfast. I'll scramble up eggs with kale and onions, red onion, and then I'll put some, once it's all cooked and I have it on my plate, I'll add sauerkraut on top of it and I'll eat it with my breakfast. I rarely even have it in a sandwich. I usually have it to accompany foods like rice and eggs. There's quite a bit of liquid already in here that I have dumped in here. That's awesome. It's doing its job. Okay, and I'll just get the rest of this in here and push that down. I want to make sure it's all level. I'll let you have a peek at what it looks like. What are some things that you like sauerkraut with? Let me know in the comments down below. Or maybe you don't even like sauerkraut. You can let me know that too. It's packed down there nice and tight in the crock. It's like just under half full. Now what I'm gonna do is I have to put a plate over top. This plate just fits inside this crock. It's like the perfect fit. And then I'm gonna push down on this even more. Then I need to put a weight on here on my plate to weight down that plate, and it also pushes down on the cabbage to get it to release that water from the cabbage that makes the brine with the salt in the cabbage. So we'll put this over top, and I'm gonna even give that a good push. Now over top of that, I'm gonna be putting on one of these towels. Put this one over, and what the towel does is that just keeps the bugs out from going into my sauerkraut while it is got the brine going on and doing its thing and fermenting. And this is really all you have to do. It's just that easy. Check your kraut every day or two. The volume reduces as the fermentation proceeds. Taste the kraut. Generally it starts to be tangy after a few days, and the taste gets stronger as time passes. Then usually last year what I did was once I found that the kraut was at a point where I enjoyed enjoyed the taste of how it tasted, then I put it into those mason jars with those screw-on lids, and you can get them at Walmart, Canadian Tire, those plastic screw-on lids for wide mouth, and they also have it for a regular size jar. And I'll put it in the jar, and then I just store it in my fridge, and I keep it in my fridge, and I just eat it over time. It will keep in your fridge for like 6 or 8 months. It doesn't even say that there is any specific time of how long it will keep. I had it in the fridge for at least 6 months, and it kept just fine. So I'm going to put this in the corner of my kitchen, and then we're going to move on to my beet pickles. Now I'm getting my beet pickles ready. I finished boiling them to get the skins off. I haven't taken the skins off yet. I'm just getting the brine that I'm going to be making to put over the pickles. I have to get that ready. And to get that ready, I need 3 tablespoons of pickling spice. I just buy pickling spice from the store. But I'm using these, they're reusable brew bags. And I can't remember where I got these from. But you need 3 tablespoons. There's 1. Probably gonna have to pick up some more pickling spice. I don't know if I actually use pickling spice for anything else other than beet pickles. And 3 tablespoons. So yeah, these are from Norpro, and it's reusable brew bags. You get a set of 4 in the pack, and you can use them for tea blend, seasonings, or potpourri. They just float, and then you lift them out, and then you can just wash them and reuse them. So I'm gonna cinch that up. I'll just give it a little tie, and then I can untie it. And I'm just going to attach this so that it's sitting in the brine, but I'm going to tie it to just the handle. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but that's what I'm going to do. Now I need to add 2.5 cups of vinegar. So 2. There's 2. And that's just going in my pot. And another 1/2 cup. There's that. I need a cup of water. I'm just going to use a cup of water from my kettle. So there's that. A cup of water. And 1 cup of sugar. And this is just a 1/2 cup measure in my sugar container. I always have it in there at all times. So there's a 1/2 cup. 1 cup. And I'm just going to combine this so that the sugar is all mixed in. And then I need to turn my heat on and bring this to a boil. At the same time, I'm also going to get my steam bath canner ready. I've already got water in it, and I put a little bit of vinegar in the water, and what that does is it makes it so that there's no hard water spots from our water, because it leaves like a white film on the jars. So I just make sure that I put a little bit of vinegar in with the water. And with the steam canner, you use way less water. It fits whether you have 7 pints or 7 quarts, it'll fit them in there. Okay, I've got that all mixed in. I'm going to turn this burner on to get it to a boil. And then once we get it to a boil, then we reduce the heat and boil gently for 15 minutes until the spices have infused. And then we'll remove the spice bag after that. Whenever I am working with beets, I like to put these gloves on because I don't like how they stain your fingers. So now I'm just going to cut the ends off, slip the skins, like they just slip right off. And this is a fairly small beet, so I'm just going to cut it in half. And I will take the next one, cut the end off, cut the top off. That skin just wants to stay on my knife. And then I just take my hand and I just slip the skin right off of the beet. It comes off so easy. And then I just put that in my chicken bucket, and my chickens will eat those skins. I'm going to chop these up into bite-sized pieces for my pickles. I don't like my beets to be too big, and so I will just keep Doing that with the rest of these beets. Has boiled for 15 minutes with the pickling spice in it. And take that out. I will just put this in my measuring cup here. I'm adding my beets. I ended up putting the golden beets in with my regular beets. There was no way I was going to have enough. So now we're putting the beets in the brine. And we're going to let this come to a boil. And those beets, it might be nice to have that color in there. I've never pickled golden beets before, but it might be nice to have that color just for something different in the jar. It might make the jar look quite pretty actually. And then I can put them into my hot jars. My steam canner is ready. Turned it down. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit more. I've got it at medium now. And it has the temperature gauge at the top. And I am at the max point right now. I have turned that down, which is lowering that. So I might have turned that down a little too much. I'll just keep it right in between 5 and 6, so just above medium. I will keep that. I'm going to turn this one up a bit. Maybe I'll just bring out a cutting board, because I'll fill the jars up with the beets first. I'm using a slotted spoon. I'll remove the beets to fill the jars up with the beets. And then once I have it full, I'll put it over here on this cutting board. And then I'm going to ladle that hot brine over the beets, put the lids on, and put the rings on, and then I will stick it in my steam canner. And it will go in the steam canner and process for 30 minutes. Got my funnel ready. I might as well turn this off because I've got it to a boil. I'm just going to fill up these jars. I might make these beets look quite pretty having those golden beets in there, I think. You're going to fill up the jars to about 1/2 inch from the top. I obviously have too many. Let's see where we're at. That should be okay. Put that one over there. Got my next one. This one's a wide mouth jar. Yowza! See, my handle is too hot. I need an oven mitt. I just need to be able to get these beets out of here. I might have too much. I don't have a lot left here, so I've got a couple more. There's like 3 I got 2. I'll put them in another jar. And I have 1 more that I need to fit somewhere. And I think this one's maybe a little too full. I don't know. Totally fine. Okay, now I'm going to ladle this pickle juice or brine into the jars. Hot pad, made my hot pads. So, okay, now that I've filled my jars, I'm just taking this little rubber spatula and I'm taking it down the sides. That gets the air bubbles out in any of the pockets. And that's the last one. Okay. Now I'm going to put my lids and there's the wide mouth, and then I've got the other 3 over here, and then we'll get the rings on. And you just want it so it's finger tight. Oh, that needs the wide one. I've got the other 3 over here. Okay. And when you're taking the lid off, always take the lid off so it points to the back. That way you don't burn yourself with the steam. So now I will set my jars up in my canner. And then you put the lid on. It has a little vent hole. The vent hole always goes to the back. So you put the lid on, make sure it's on all the way around. And now I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. The 30 minutes is up. I'm just going to turn this burner off. The handle actually should not be hot. Remember to always let it come off from the front, or tip it to the back, I should say, towards the back. And now you want to let this sit for 5 minutes before removing it from the steam canner. There's one already sealed. So I figure for 5 minutes, I can just kind of talk about what my plans are for some of my other vegetables that I still have in the garden. I have two Savoy cabbages in the garden. One didn't look quite as nice as the other one did, and I think with one of them, the not as nice looking Savoy cabbage, I think I'd like to use that for another sauerkraut. But the really nice looking Savoy cabbage, I want to use that for doing kimchi. I've never made kimchi before. I have had kimchi and I really like it. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law make a kimchi rice, and we've been over there and it's actually really quite tasty. And kimchi is so good for your digestive system and your gut health. And that's another reason why I do the sauerkraut as well. I'm trying to get more into more of the fermented foods as much as I can. I mean, this is all new to me, so for me to just get right gung-ho into the fermented foods, I mean, any pickles that you make are good choices for gut health, like dill pickles, the beet pickles, and Then also I found a recipe. I wanted to make a chutney and I was talking about that. Well, I found a recipe for a cherry chutney. Well, I have, and I don't know if you've seen my videos, but I have a lot of sour cherries, and you can use sweet or tart cherries to make this chutney. I also have more of those little green apples that I used for my sauerkraut. I have more of those downstairs in my cold storage room. And I thought, what a wonderful way to be able to use up the rest of those apples, and I can make this cherry chutney. I made a mango chutney quite a few years ago, and I really liked that. And just from the description of this cherry chutney, I think it's going to be another thing I would like to make with those tart cherries, those tart sour cherries. Definitely going to be making a couple of batches of sour cherry jam. That is a huge favorite of most of any of my family that has tried it, has absolutely loved it. And I think I don't even know if I have any more in the basement. I don't remember seeing any of the sour cherry jam. So I'll definitely be doing like 2 or 3 batches of that as well. And then I would like to make some sour cherry pie filling, because I have some little tartlet shells that I thought that would be really nice, especially at Christmas. That would just look absolutely amazing. So, okay. We are going to start moving some of these jars, and I've already got my canning mat here. This was a mat that my mom had this canning mat, and it is so old that I just absolutely love it. And you can fit so many jars of canning on it. So we'll just take these and move them to over here. Those golden beets, I can kind of tell which ones they are, but they've kind of taken on that pink hue from the other beets. So, I mean, I only got 6 pints, and I definitely want to do more. I have more beets in the garden, just going to give them more time to get bigger, and we'll do some more beet pickles because that's another favorite of my family's. And I have my sauerkraut there in the corner with my towel over it, and I'll be applying some pressure on that plate every couple of hours. So it's probably time for me to do that too. So anyways, thanks for joining me. I hope you like this video. And if you like this video, put a like in there. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.